All right, so this week we have a gospel style rhythm. We're going to take everything that I played in the intro and break it all down note for note so you'll understand where the notes come from and hopefully be able to implement some of these gospel techniques into your playing. Even if you're not playing gospel, these are things that you can work into your playing. So I've got this lesson split into two parts. In this video, we're going to go through the first half. If you'd like to learn the second half, as well as download the tablature and the MP3 jam track, which I have in multiple tempos, I have a slower version of this as well. You can get all of those things by going to activemelody.com, go to the weekly lessons page, and do a search for EP470. Okay, so this song is played in the key of E, and it's really just, at least this first part, what we're going to go through in this video, it's a 1-4-5. Even though we're going to be modulating and playing some different chords, you're going to understand what I mean when I say it's the structure of it is a 1-4-5. So the main chords are an E, an A, and a B chord. That's the main sort of spine of what we're going to be looking at. The rest of it are just little embellishments and things around that. So I grew up in a small town in Middle Tennessee. Well, it wasn't that small. It was a lot smaller then. It was Cookeville, Tennessee is where I grew up. But I went to a very small church growing up, and we had sort of the piano player in the corner of the room. Different piano players would kind of come through. But there was one piano player in particular I remember as a kid that would do this technique where they would go from, and I didn't know what this was. I just liked the sound of it. But what I found out what they were doing is they were going from whatever chord they were on, they would go to the 4 chord of that chord, and then back to the chord. And it wasn't until much later when I was listening to Elton John, I heard him do that, and I realized, okay, that's obviously a style. That's sort of a gospel style. And so that's what this is taking the chord that you're on. So you're taking those 3 chords that I just talked about, the E, A, and B chord. And as you're on the chord, you play the 4 chord of the chord you're on. So it makes sense for the E chord. Your 4 chord would be an A, right? That's the 4 chord of the key of the song. But then when you go to the A, you play the 4 chord of the A. So that would be a D. So in actual fact, you're sort of switching keys just for that one little moment in time. And then we'll do something different when we get to the 5 chord. So that's just, I just wanted to sort of set this up. That's the general idea of this gospel style. Okay, so I started this with this little pickup, and it comes in on the 2. So if you're counting this in, you'd say 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, right on the 2. So when you're starting to play along with a jam track, you're waiting for the 6th click. The first 4 are just your count in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Right on that 6th click is when you start this pickup. And this would be just E major pentatonic scale pattern 2 if you're thinking about patterns. But we're playing the open 2nd string, hitting that twice, that B note, and then we're going to do a hammer on to the 2nd fret 2nd string. And then upstroke on the open 1 string. That's your pickup. That's a great little pickup if you're playing in the key of E. It works really nice with your E chord because you can actually hold your E chord and do that with your pinky. So that right there might be a little sidebar, a little takeaway for some of you. You could do that on acoustic guitar, electric, doesn't matter. But you can start to embellish with your pinky on that in that one little spot there. Okay, so we have. Then I came up here and went. Let's talk about that. So this is your E chord using the D shape. So just make your D chord in first position like you know, and slide that up 2 frets. Now you're only going to play the top 3 strings. Don't try not to bump any of the other strings. So we're going to play that. Then we're going to come down and bar the first 3 strings on the 2nd fret. And then I come up here with an upstroke to the 4th fret 1st string. That's a little embellishment. And then back to 2nd fret behind the bar there. So keep the bar the whole time. And then to your E chord. And all of that represents your E. Even though we were playing this, which is not an E at all, it's using that format that I talked about, which is going from your 1 chord to your 4 chord. So let's think about what we're doing here. We have our E chord. We're coming to this. This is the A part. That's like going to your A chord. We're not playing just a regular old A chord. I'm playing this, which would be, I'm thinking of this like an A6 chord. So if we just play those top 3 strings, that's what it sounds like to me. It's like an A6. And then playing this would be sort of like going into an A major 7 if you want to get technical, but it's just sort of an embellishment. And then down to your E chord. So it's really E, A, E. 1, 4, 1. So from the beginning we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Now watch this. So what I did there was slide into the A. We went to the 4 chord of the song, of the key of the song. So I just do a quick slide from the 2nd fret to the 4th fret on the 6th string. It's just sort of a little build up. It's like what the bass player might do. And then I played, did the bar there on the 2nd fret. I played 5, 4, 3, maybe 5, 4, 3, and 2. I'll put the tab up on the screen. But so when I played that, I came up here and did this 4 chord of the 4 chord. So this would be a D, and then we go back to the A. Now, while we keep that bar down, now try not to hit your 1st string, because that's not going to work. So just try and stay between strings 5, 4, 3, and 2, those middle 4 strings. But while we have that bar down, middle finger goes down on the 3rd fret, 2nd string, ring finger on the 4th fret, 4th string, and that's a D chord. Look at the shape there. That would be like your C shape, right? If we're thinking caged, that's your C chord shape. Or you can see your little D chord in there. I mean, you can see it where on strings 1, 2, and 3. But this is also what I think of as the Keith Richards move. So Keith Richards uses this all the time, going from whatever chord he's on to the 4 chord. Another good example of rock and roll using that gospel style rhythm. So we do the A, and then we go back to the E. And then the whole thing repeats. Now this time we go to the 5 chord. Now the 5 chord is a B. Now, what you might see if you saw a chord chart and you just saw a B, you might go like this. Just play a B, right? But why not go and modulate again? Now I got this idea, this sound from Ry Cooder, and some of you that follow or know Ry Cooder's work, you might recognize that as something that sounds like something he would do. I don't know what song it's from, but I hear Ry doing this stuff all the time, and I'm such a big fan of his playing. So what I'm doing there is I'm playing the B chord using the A shape out of caged. So we play it like that. And then I go, now this is different. I'm not going to the 4 chord of that 5 chord. I'm going to the 5 chord of the 5 chord. Don't let the numbers confuse you. Just know that when it's time for the 5 chord, we treat that one a little different. That's our dominant chord. It's our tension chord. It's building a tension to get us back home, which is our 1 chord. So for the 5 chord, it makes more sense to play the 5 chord of the 5 chord. Just on that 1 chord. So, sounds better than going like this. You can do it that way, but it doesn't create nearly the tension that playing the 5 chord of the 5 chord. So we play our B chord, and then we play an F sharp, and I'm using that E shape out of cage, and then we go back to the B. So just playing the chords. All right, so now we're back to our root chord, and just to give it a little variety this time, I played more of it like a little blues lick here on strings 1 and 2. So I played that pickup that we've been using, and then I played this. So let's look at this. This would be ring finger on the 3rd fret 1st string. You could use your middle if that's easier, but 3rd fret 1st string, and then 2nd fret 2nd string. And when you play it, hold on to it and push it sharp. That's key. You don't want to just hit it and let it go. You have to, it's that pushing it sharp that gives it the nice kind of bluesy vibe. And then you hit your open 1 string. You can think of this as minor pentatonic scale. Like if we're thinking about E chord, we can think about our minor pentatonic scale pattern 1. For this note would be in like your major pentatonic scale. So it's that weird clash. One note is in major, one note is in minor, and you play them together and it sounds uneasy, you know? And then after that, I slid up and I played 2 E notes. And this is another classic blues move. You slide up to the 5th fret 2nd string, hit that E note, and then you hit your open 1 string along with it. You can get so much mileage out of this idea here. You can go. I just wanted to throw that out there. Little sidebar. Some of you will walk away with this lesson just remembering that, and that's totally cool. But you can get slide down to your E7. A lot of things you can do here. So anyway, so we have. Now, since I hit that E string and let that ring out, I'm going to keep up with that thing. So I hit my A chord here. That's just strings 2, 3, and 4 on the 2nd fret. And I'm just cramming all 3 fingers in to play that so that I can let that open 1 string ring out. Now, some of you can do that with your finger and bar it and the sort of double jointed thing. I've never been able to do that. So I have to play it like this. But the thing is, I wanted that 1 string to ring out just to keep the theme going. So we've got. Hear that note ringing out, then your A, and then I go to the A sharp diminished 7 and played it like that. Now let me show you that. So we've got our A chord. We're going to keep our ring finger where it is. Middle finger moves up to the 2nd fret 4th string, and then my index finger comes down here to the 1st fret on the 5th string, and that's an A sharp diminished 7 chord. I first learned that chord, which is funny. I didn't even know what it was, but the Garth Brooks song "Friends in Low Places." Somebody was showing me the chords like early on when I was playing. I still remember this chord voicing from that song. So your A sharp diminished 7, classic blues move. You take your 4 chord of your song, play the sharp diminished 7 of that 4 chord. It's a nice tension to get you back to the 1. So it's like a little in-between chord. But when you're trying to go from your 4 chord back to the 1, you can go 4 chord, 4 sharp diminished 7, and then your 1. See how nice that sounds? Very gospel, very bluesy. So we have A sharp diminished 7. I put my pinky there on that 2nd fret 1st string, a little embellishment. And then we go back to the 1 chord, our E. And then watch this. Now I'll explain these chords we're going to play here in a minute. You're going to have to bear with me, learn the chords first. So we're going to walk this up. This is a C sharp 7. So we're just going to take our ring finger and go. Actually, it doesn't have to. You just need to end on your ring finger. You could use your other fingers to get there. But it's 2nd fret, 3rd fret, 4th fret on the 5th string. And then we're going to play this would be like our C7 shape. We slide it up a fret, the C sharp 7. And then we're going to go back to our F sharp chord, but I'm only going to play the triad, the top 3 strings. I'm thinking about it right here using the E shape from the Cage system, but only the top 3 strings. And then we're going to play our B chord, but we're going to play a B6. This is a lot like that. Well, it's exactly like that A6 that we played earlier. Just the top 3 strings. That's actually, it represents a B6. So let's back it up. We have A sharp diminished 7, back to your E, walk it up to your C sharp 7, F, B, B6, back to your E. And then the A, and then the E. There's E, 4 chord, back to your 1 chord. Now, what is all this stuff? The C sharp 7, F, like what's going on? How does that fit into a 1, 4, 5? I've talked about this in several videos. This goes back to what is a secondary dominant chord, and I'll put a link up to a lesson if you want to deep dive into it. But to summarize what's going on here, and I love this sound. I use it all the time because it just sounds so good, and I hear it in a lot of styles of music. Ragtime, Delta blues, gospel. It's very prominent in old-time music. You know, you don't hear it so much modern music. But basically, what you're doing by going into that C7, or I'm sorry, the C sharp 7, that's the 5 chord of your F sharp. So C sharp is the 5 chord of your F sharp, which is the 5 chord of your B chord, which is the 5 chord of the key of the song, of your E. So C sharp is the 5 chord of the F sharp is the 5 chord of your B is the 5 chord of your E. So you've really just created a tension pattern. You started the tension there with that chord that's totally out of key, and it's like, wait, what? Where are we going here? Okay, it resolved. It resolved to its 1 chord. But wait, that's tension 2. That needs to resolve. Okay, it just resolved to its 1 chord. Oh wait, that's tension 2. So it resolves to its 1 chord. That's kind of what's going on. It's weird, but you're creating this little pattern here. And if you want a really easy way to visualize this 5 chord of the 5 chord thing, on the guitar it's actually very easy because you could take your E shape and your A shape and you can see it. If we take those same chords we just played, C sharp, F, B, and E, watch this. It's doing the same thing, but we're playing E shape, A shape in the same neighborhood. E, A. We go down 2 frets, E, A. I can keep going. So this is the 5 chord of this, which is the 5 chord of this, which is the 5 chord of this, which is the 5 chord. So you can keep going down and you can see that relationship. It's really easy to visualize with a guitar neck like that. And you can pick any spot and do that. So no matter what key you're in, if you want this technique, you can use that to work your way back to your 1 chord. All right, that's what we have for this part 1 video. I'll back up and play through it one more time, and then we'll see you in part 2.